we're talking about churches that are on their way to regathering again. If you were with us in the last segment, you heard them both say that their attendance has been running about 70% of their normal and regular attendance. Let me ask you both, do you have people in your ministries that you find are still somewhat hesitant to regather? Gary, let's start with you here.
Yes, Keith, we do. A few of them. And I keep one fellow in mind I'm thinking of. He keeps saying, well, I'll be back next Sunday. And next Sunday comes along and he is not back yet. He actually is telling me that his children won't let him go back to church yet. And so I believe him. But there are some who are hesitant for whatever reason. Most of them, I think, are elderly. Well, I know they are elderly, and they're just afraid to get out and get about. I expected that. I don't know how long that is going to happen or take place. I kind of thought that by now, by the time we got to the 1st of July, mostly everybody would be back. But now, they're talking about the spiking of COVID again, so that's probably putting some fear into the hearts and the minds of some of the people. But most of the people have gotten over it, yet there still are a few sort of lagging behind a little bit.
Mike, what about in northeastern Ohio?
Oh, I would agree totally with Brother Gary. Everything that he has said is certainly true even over here. There's 35% that are not coming back right now. Some have underlying conditions and maybe, for concerns that they might contract the virus. They're staying home at this time. Also for us, something that has played into our ministry has been that up to this point, we have not offered child care. We are going to offer child care at the 10:15 service starting this Sunday. This is our 6th week of regathering, and we have deliberately done a very phased-in program. And so we started with our 2 morning services and without any child care. A lot of young couples have been hesitant to come back because they don't want to, struggle with little Johnny, little Susie in the church service. We've deliberately and intentionally shortened our services to where we get them within an hour to try to make it easier on younger couples to get in and get out. But this Sunday, I believe that we will see an increase, maybe, go from 70 to 80% as we offer child care, and younger couples will feel more comfortable in coming back. We have sent out our guidelines for our children's ministry as we've regathering here this upcoming Sunday. And hopefully those guidelines are being received well. We're implementing a lot of things where we check the temperature of all of our workers. We hand out hand sanitizer to the kids. They're meeting in smaller groups at tables, no snacks, no playroom, really emphasizing the sickness policy. We're telling our children as well as our workers to refrain from hugging, which is very common, and in a centralized check-in station, all these things that we're implementing, trying to help young families feel comfortable and to feel at ease to bring their children back to our ministry.
It takes a lot of planning and work. While you were talking, I was wondering, how are you addressing these folks that are not coming back? Mike, you gave us the answer for where children are concerned. Gary, in your church there in Altoona, how are you addressing those that are still hesitant and for some reason to come back?
First of all, let me say that if Mike has crafted his services to be under 1 hour over the past 6 weeks, and this week they're going back into having the children's ministries up and going, I can imagine that each service will probably go to about 2 or 3 hours now because Mike has a lot of preaching to put forth. So we'll watch and see what happens out there, Mike.
Yep.
But I'm very careful with it. We're certainly not trying to pressure people to be back. I'm encouraging people to pray for others who have not yet decided to come on back and get involved. And I continue to say, and by virtue of the fact that we've got radio and television and then the social media out there, I even say on the air, if you don't feel like it's time for you to come back, that's fine. We understand. I said that quite clearly for a couple of weeks. The last week or two, though, I've put a stronger emphasis on the importance of the church being together. And I trust that the Lord will take that and use it in the hearts and the minds of those who are somewhat hesitant You know, Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 25 tells us that we are not to forsake the assembly, and we are to be together so that we can admonish and encourage one another. And I think that's so very, very important. I noticed one thing, Brother Keith, that when we opened up the church the first time, in fact, it still continues to happen, that it's hard to get started on time because people are in the aisles, in the auditorium, and they're just talking and having a good old time. And I hate to get up and say, hey, we've got to start church, because they're having a good time of fellowship.
Just being together, yeah.
Yeah, just being together. And that's a part of what the church is. So we want to make sure that when people come back, that they are comfortable and feel led of the Lord to do it. And we're happy to work with that.